Someone told me that IOD had 4 new paint inlays come out today, as well as some new molds and stamps. But I've heard that some people think that paint inlays are hard to do.
I think they're pretty easy to do, and we're gonna show you how easy they are on this dresser.
We're gonna do a simple DIY paint finish, nothing super crazy or layered or anything like that, and we're gonna get straight to the paint inlays. So we're just doing a single layer of paint, but I am gonna be mixing paint to get the color I want. I'm doing 50-50 Salty Kiss to Farm Fresh. So we're gonna call it Salty Fresh. It's kind of a winter green, turquoisey color, and I think it's gonna look great with the Paradise inlay. Here's Salty Kiss. This is what Farm Fresh looks like, the way that it comes out of the jar. When I'm mixing paint, I always try to mix enough for the whole project because it's like virtually impossible to get the same color exactly. It just takes it from being a Kelly green to more of like a spearminty green. So here you go. Can you see the difference between the two? We're gonna need 2 coats, so we're gonna go ahead and get this first coat on, and then when we do the second coat, we'll have to be ready to put the inlays on because you put that on while the paint is wet. I'm putting a coat of paint on here and making it nice and smooth. You want it to be wet but not goopy. That is the key, because if you get it goopy, then the paint, like, it just gets gross.
So this is recessed down, it has a routed edge, so we're just going to put it on the top part. If it gets down on the bottom, it will be okay, because I can just sand it or repaint over that lip really easily. All right, it's down on the paint. I'm pressing down really nice and firmly here. I want it to sit and soak into the inlay and reactivate the paint that's on there.
And then it has to dry all the way, and then we'll get it wet and pull it off.
Okay, now it's on there, it's nice and pressed. I'm just gonna mist this really lightly. I don't want to tear the paper and get it so wet that it's just a soaking mess. So now we'll let that whole thing dry. We'll let it dry all the way, and then we'll rinse and repeat. So I remember when I first started using IOD products, the sisters would watch our videos and they would cringe a little because while there's not a ton of rules to IOD products, there's definitely steps to use to get them to get best results. And I always just kind of winged it with the stamping and the transfers and all the different inks and stuff. I'm like, hey, look, they just came out with this, and I just use it in a video without practicing. And sometimes I think it made them cringe a little bit. I think they're used to it now because I still do the same thing, but you know, it's fun. It's fun to see how they react. We should do a react video one of these days.
The IOD sisters react to us. Yeah. Using their products.
Yeah. All right, guys, it's time. It's time. Spritz again now that it's dry. You don't want to go too wild, but you need to get the paper off. Let's see how we did. Let's see. The nice thing about these paint inlays is it's not like a transfer that sits on top. This paint is embedded into the other paint. All right, so I had a couple little wrinkles in my paper. I actually love the look. Okay, we're getting quite a bit of this off. I could have probably let it dry a little longer, but man, loving that. It's got some good age to it already. It's perfect. It's perfect for me. All right, let's try this one. Right here I got a little bit of the inlay over where I don't want it on the beveled edge. I'm just gonna paint Right over that.
Okay, so next we're gonna do distressing. If you don't like distressing, just stop, don't do it, and skip to the next step after this. We love distressing, so we're gonna go ahead and get going. I'm gonna lightly go over this piece, and then we'll just go around the edges. Be careful when you're sanding because you don't wanna smear, so just go super lightly and use 220. The next thing I'm gonna do is seal it. The one thing about sealing it is you don't wanna overwork it. So where you use clear wax or a liquid top coat like Big Top, you're gonna go over it and you're gonna let it dry and then you're gonna buff it. You can do multiple coats. Just wait a little bit in between for that paint and the wax to cure. A couple hours is usually enough.
Hardware's going back on. We realize it's going to cover a lot of this inlay, but the hardware is really cool and I feel like the brass really goes with these green tones.
I said that it was gonna be simple and just paint and clear wax, but then I was like, what if I added a little bit of dark wax? I'm using DIY dark wax and go around the edge. You don't have to do this, but this is just gonna give it a little bit more of an aged look. You definitely always want to clear wax before you dark wax. It gives you more control. So I'm just gonna go around the edge of my piece. And my wax brush is gonna glide fairly smoothly because there's so much wax on here. And then I'm gonna come back before it sets up. I'm gonna wipe back that dark wax. Oops, Zeb hasn't nailed this on yet. It's real splotchy and dark, but
I actually love the look a little bit myself.
You do? You love the splotchy dark?
Yeah, on camera it looks great.
We have faith. And we're tired and hungry and gonna eat pizza. So we're gonna let it sit overnight and buff it. So stay tuned to the end of this video for the after pictures of what it looks like after it sits 24 hours and gets buffed.
So this did have a key. Don't be sad. I broke it in here trying to open this up. It was very seized up, and so now it doesn't have a key.
Why did you put it in this one? It wasn't even locked.
I was like, oh, they all lock. I was just trying them all out. All right, so on these inlays, some of them have a little bit of distress on there before we sanded it. I actually really like that. I don't know why it did that. I'm gonna still experiment. I think it's because I'm not letting the water sit on there long enough. So if you want real crisp, clean, maybe try a spot first and be like, okay, I let the water sit on for X amount of time on this particular piece and it came off.
Or you could just do it our way and embrace it and be like, oh my gosh, that's exactly what I wanted.
It really is, it's what I like.
If you wanna do the same thing to your dresser, visit JamiRayVintage.com. Zeb's gonna drop the link below with a list of items used, which is gonna be easy today because I didn't use 400 different layers of paint.
No, just lots of waxes.
Be sure to give this video a thumbs up, share it out, and subscribe to Jami Ray Vintage for more
DIY.